I'm going to demonstrate to you that Tacitus writing about Jesus is not historical evidence that Jesus actually existed, but that he was merely writing about what people believed. Now, up here you see that there is Wotan or Odin, that he hung himself on the tree Yggdrasil. He hung himself for 9 days and 9 nights after he had impaled himself on his own spear in order to gain wisdom and knowledge of the underworld and other worlds. Now, the gentleman here says that he stabbed himself to know what it felt like to die. I have not seen the folklore that specifies that, but as we know, these stories are different depending upon where the information is gathered from. But Tacitus wrote about Odin. And although many will start to say that, well, he wrote about Odin, but Odin's story didn't really come into existence with the Norse mythology until at the oldest around the 7th century BCE. And that would put it far after Christianity was already written. And that would be true if we only looked at it from the position of the Norse mythology. But Tacitus didn't write specifically about the Norse mythology. He wrote about the Proto-Indus Germanic mythology in his writings called Germanica, or Germania. And in those writings, he wrote about the Germanic religion, which worshiped Woden or Wotanaz, which then becomes Odin in the Norse mythology. He wrote about Frigga, he wrote about Jord, and he wrote about Thor, who actually, I know you guys watch the Marvel movies. Frigga is not Thor's mother, but he wrote about Balder and all the other Norse gods, but just under their Germanic names. Now, this Germanic religion existed prior to Tacitus ever writing anything because his information was gained from the understanding written by Titus, but also what was written by Julius Caesar in and around 134, 160 BCE. So this is long before your Christian story is ever written. And even when you look at the Germania, what you will then realize in the study of that is that the writings concerning Germania actually stems from the Proto-Indus Iranian religion. And in that religion, you have the All Father, the weather god, the lightning bearer. You have the same god in Indra. Indra was that god that created the universe, created the world, and was the king of all the other Vedas, all the other gods. And this possibly, more than likely, came from the Indus, the Proto-Indus religion. Now, the Proto-Iranian religion stems all the way back to around 2050 BCE. And the Indus religion stems all the way back to about 4000 BCE. And as people migrated and gained more information, they were migrated and gained more information about their land. They converted these gods as their language changed into their own names. This is why they have similar but different names as they progress through times with different regions of people as they migrated in throughout Europe. So, in a sense, Tacitus wrote about the Proto Indus gods, wrote about the Proto Iranian gods, and of course, when Zoroaster came in, he changed the Proto Iranians into Zoroastrianism, which was a monotheistic religion prior to anybody else in that region having a monotheistic religion. We also know that in the 1400s BCE, Akhenaten had a one god religion as well. So these ideas came in and around about the same time frame. But the fact that Tacitus wrote about the Germanic gods, which then goes into the Norse gods, demonstrates that he was writing about what people believed. Therefore, it is easy to surmise that when he wrote about the Christians and this belief in Jesus, this Christ like figure, that he was simply writing about what people believe. I know in other videos I've mentioned how he wrote about Serapis and the miracles that Serapis performed through the vessel of Vespasian. So if you're going to say that Tacitus, writing about what people believed in a historical and in a Jesus character, and that makes Jesus historical, makes him a real being, then you would then also have to say that Wotanize, Odin, whichever name you want to call him, Asir, um, in the Proto-Indus, that he, well, Idra in the Proto-Indus, it's Asir in another one, that that would make Odin a historical being, which would then make Frigga, Jord, Thor, Balder, Heimdall, Hela. It would make all of them also historical beings. So you cannot pick and choose which beings are historical based on Tacitus and which beings are not historical simply because you desire to have your own confirmation bias. I hope that helps a lot of people who are deconstructing to understand that what is claimed to be historical documentation and proof of Jesus is merely what people, historians specifically, were writing about what people believed, because there are zero eyewitness historical accounts of any of these deities, period. All of them. Because even what is claimed to be historical accounts of Jesus in the Gospels were not written by Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, but those names were given to them later because they were unauthored. The author was not identified for either of them, and none of them were written at the time frame that Jesus actually lived, if he actually lived at all, to which I do not believe he lived at all. For those who claim Tacitus corroborates the proof that Jesus existed, if you accept that, then accept Odin, accept Thor, accept Frigga, accept all the Norse gods who come from the Germanic gods, who come from the Proto-Iranian gods, who come from the Indus gods. So y'all have a nice day, a great day. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.